Oh, what?
Wow,
Oh, no,
wow.
Max. Why did you do that to me? Oh my God.
What?
I
What
was
just
like
happened?
this. I was just doing this in the background, and then in Max like brought us in
Eureka!
early. I was stretching. I've got to do my post game stretches, get warmed up for the desk segment, and match. Basically, our producer trolled me, guys. Right. It's okay, Max. It's all for content, I suppose. Right, we've got next game coming up. It is going to be Fnatic versus Singularity. Now, this is going to be a bit of a banger. Singularity currently sits at 2-0 in the group. They've had a really good start to the NLC. Fnatic, they went a little bit sort of even. They were 1-on-1 across the board. They bounced back in their second game. This time round, though, they do have Pride back in the top lane. So maybe looking to return to full strength of their roster.
Obviously, but I want to address some core players here. In this game, we have a player with 30 KDA, 94.4 kill participation, topping both the KDA charts and the kill participation charts. And guess what? That's NLC. Of all people driving that right now. He was so underrated last split, but this split on champions like Lilia, on champions like Nidalee, he's been the one influencing the success of Singularity. If you go back and watch the VODs, he's a driving factor in the early game together with the bot lane, and as soon as him and Prospect gets out there together, they start being the success for Singularity. And that's what you need to be careful for if you're Fnatic today, because they have looked shaky.
And as you mentioned, Nolty has been the driving force, has been the heart of the cards of the Search
That's his only
Singularity.
2 played champions
Both
ban.
Nidalee and Lilia banned. Wouldn't be surprised to see Talia also banned to get the entire AP pool out of the way. There's Gragas in there as well. We haven't necessarily seen it too much. I just want to jump on the other side because I feel like what Pride does with Fnatic Rising is what Soaz used to do back on Fnatic. He was sort of the stable master that would pull the reins when the horse had gone too wild. And it seemed like Fnatic Rising was in a little bit of a crisis last week. They haven't yet found their identity, but I do really think that now with Pride, he has a really vast champion pool. He can pick and choose whatever he wants to, from a gate to tanks to even Vayne, top lane and mages. I think it's going to be what completes the team and puts them back on track.
So let's try and break down the bans so far coming in. Obviously 2 bans from Fnatic Rising going towards Nolty. It's the only 2 champions he's played. Also Thresh being taken away from Prospect, one of his most played champions. 3rd ban, still can't see it, but we can see that Maxi is being targeted out and for Bevan's Lucian. So what we can take from this is mostly target bans. I think though the matchup between Maxi and Nolty is going to be extremely interesting, but also the fact that Maxi is showing this amount of respect with the bans coming towards them and not even the first pick. Like either Talia or Pantheon should be up now, and it could have been a champion you picked, but it was Kai'Sa that was the first pick.
We just need to see which one is the last ban. Apparently it's Twisted Fate, so both Talia and Pantheon are up for grabs. I wouldn't be surprised to honestly see Singularity grab them both, because we saw how oppressive they are in the early game when they both peaked in the same team. We obviously saw the Pantheon going for the armor penetration build on the previous one, going for the assassin mode, but we'll see what the actual pick is, because it has to be the Talia Pantheon. Come on.
We've locked in Black Square. We have locked in Black Square here for it's Xayah for Singularity. We'll see what their second pick is of this pick and ban phase. It could just be another Black Square. You never know. It's Gragas. There we go. Gragas and Xayah locked in on first rotation for Singularity.
Yeah, and to be fair, Gragas did have 100% pick ban participation in LEC as well. Xayah is one of those AD carries that started to flourish into Kai'Sa as well. I talked a lot about Aphelios last split, but if we take a look at LPL and also in the LEC, Kai'Sa has had mediocre success into Kai'Sa as well here.
Oh, we've gone to old school.
This is old school.
This is the old school graphics, because we were just having some issues with our new overlay and the way we were transmitting some of the images over. It looks like it is going to be the Azir locked in for Febiven. And so now Singularity, rather not locked in yet, still waiting to pick. But if that's locked in, that would be a very early Azir. I get to see a little bit of it, but actually they need to change their minds.
You wait.
I'm going to wait until it's locked in. I'm waiting till it's locked in, because I've been hinting this third pick a little bit, and it is going to be the Leona locked in.
That's what we thought when Sahira picked Dry's second pick, by the way. That's all I'm going to say.
But yeah, it's interesting because we still see the Graves here. It's one of those champions where the idea of it is that, oh, I'm going to completely take over the game and dominate, and it's kind of always just falters in between it. Like, it doesn't really have the same priority in real life that it actually has in your head. But I'm interested to seeing how Rux and Febby, or not Febby, but Max will pair up with this one, because they had a really good time when they found out how to have the pressure last time. But this time, you're having the Kai'Sa. So how is this jungle matchup going to be influenced then? Hecarim coming out again. It's really popular in the EU, but it's a pick I'm not really sold on yet.
I've just never been sold on Hecarim. Even last season when it was all the raids, I've never been sold on Hecarim. I'm like, Taliyah, Pantheon, they're both up. They're still up. They're still available. Top lanes haven't even been picked. They're most likely going to be bruisers. They're most likely going to be gold drinker users. Where's the Taliyah? Where's the Panther? Where's that stand lock that's going to keep everyone in place and one-shot everyone? It actually blows my mind. And this is what makes this so interesting, right? Because you see the priorities swapping from one side to the other. You see that both bot lanes and the jungle have been prioritized. And I understand that from the side of Singularity, because now they do have the counter pick if they want it either in the mid or the bot lane, in the top lane, and they can choose in what they want to swap around. But on the other side, Fnatic Rising are trying to ban away champions that think match Leona really well, or they could provide a very potent engage, because they do believe that the Gragas is going top lane, which could potentially be the case. Weiser is a very, very skilled Gragas.
So I'm trying to think here what will make sense just going into the Leona as well. A lot of the takeaway has just been removed. So there's Gallia, Braum, and Nautilus, for example, if you want to go for some of the melee support that's still open and available. And then on the side of Fnatic, after that, you kind of have to go for a mid laner. It's actually Rel that's going to be locked in here.
Discount Leona.
Yeah, discount Leona, pretty good into tanks like Leona as well, as she steals the resistances, but it's a champion that requires good knowledge of the champion. If you do not know that, it can sometimes feel a bit clunky, and the engages has to count. When you unmount, it has to be a good engage, otherwise you're just going to be stuck in the enemy team, and that's what separates a good rel between a bad rel, because either you die or you live from that good engage.
Well, we have a freak quote from Gulborg there. Almost hit it. That's what separates the good rels from the great rels. But no, let's see.
At least he didn't say win lane, win game, right?
Yeah, well, he almost said win lane, win game.
He was right there. It just never came out.
I can see his face. He's looking deadly into the camera right now. Someone of these two squares next to Gulborg will die. But we can't tell you which one it's going to be because he hasn't made any indication. It's going to be a Renekton and an Orianna locked in at the end. And Gulborg, tell us why they're going to win lane and win game.
I don't want to speak trouble. Here you go. I was going to say something, but his scoundrel completely ruined it for me.
All right, so Fnatic Rising have a very well-rounded composition. They've got their shields, they've got their AD damage, they've got the mid-game spike, they've got the backline access, they've got stuns, they've got engage, they've got disengage, they've got AP damage, they've got AD damage. They have absolutely everything. The early, mid, and late game looks great. They're going to have priority in the bot lane as well as the top lane as well. Their Graves is going to have a really good time whichever lane he chooses to go towards. And on the other side, we do again have that all-in scenario with one difference. These team that Singularity has drafted can have engage, but can also have a ton of disengage. Now, I just cannot put my finger on which team I like more. I like Fnatic Rising's team more because it's more well-rounded, but well-rounded is also Resident Sleeper. So I'll go with Singularity because they're more spicy.
And a good book, just before we hand over to Cassis, what do you make of these two compositions?
So
a legitimate question this time.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Trouble completely nailing Fnatic Rising, basically some good scaling objectives on there, but Singularity is a lot of a way more skill check composition. Like, you're going to lose a bit out in the early game, but going into the mid to late game, it's your mechanics that's going to drive the way, and it's the macro that comes around. So how you deal with that 2v2 and the pressure in the early game is probably going to be your biggest challenge from Singularity.
Okay, and we talked a little bit about Dragdar and Prosper being a huge driving force as well alongside Nulty. So the challenge is there for them this time round. The challenge in this matchup will be apparent. All right, going to hand it over to Orcs and Hiprain for our third game of the day. This one's going to be a banger.
It's absolutely going to be a banger. We got our first rel of the tournament locked in here for Prosper. What do you make of the champion? Because in my head, she's kind of like a weaker Leona, but I've seen some priority put on her recently. Orcs, I know you talk about this stuff a lot more than I do. Where do you think Rail sits right now?
I think she's actually okay. I think players are learning more and more how to utilize her. It's actually funny because I actually spoke to Prospero about this the other day. He was of the opinion that there's a lot of scenarios where Rel wasn't too good, and then he played a scrim against a Rel who trashed him, and he kind of learned a bit more about the champion and how you can sort of play around certain lane matchups to come out more beneficial. So I think he's more confident in the pick than he was previously. I think it offers a lot of strong tools in terms of engaging. There is some vulnerabilities. Obviously, once you're in, it's kind of difficult to get out again. But, you know, I think it's interesting. I think there's an interesting composition coming out from Singularity. I think Fnatic, none of these picks seem kind of like, I'll say, too spicy. They just kind of seem like the standard picks that are generally strong on this patch. But Singularity, I think the fact they're going for the likes of the Xayah and the Rel, trying to match the potential engage coming out from the bot lane 2v2. I think it's interesting to see, but ultimately when it comes to team fights, it's all about that dive.
I think we got very spicy team fights on both sides of the comps here. We obviously got the Magnet Storm from the Rel and the Shockwave on Febiven, kind of doing similar things. One does a lot more damage than the other, mind you. So honestly, these fights are actually going to be really fun when we get to them. So see what kind of objectives we get to see play around for the moment in this earlier stages of the game, where the attention goes for the junglers, if it's going to be more of a farm fest or small skirmishes, we'll have to find out.
Tell you one thing, Crossfire will for sure be going Dead Man's Plate this game, as he is somewhat of a big fan of the item, but a lot of people have been picking this up more and more in the support role. Just that extra movement speed helps you roam about the map, as well as that extra damage, and it makes you really bulky.
Doesn't Rel have like incredibly slow?
Yes, and that's the big thing.
She's like the slowest champion in the game, right?
When she's in her like walking form off a horse, the thing is she has like a really low base movement speed, but having the Dead Man's like boost that massively.
Yeah.
To the point where you're almost like a normal champion.
Almost. There's Rux will jump onto Dragdar. Do you see a quick Shattering Strike? Actually, that was a Ferromancy from Prospere. Still learning my abilities.
Bit rough there, though, because essentially Dragdar, he gets away from it, he's fine, but he gets zoned off the wave and has to walk around. So they're going to be really late on the level 2, because those 3 casters died. He wasn't in XP range. So Bean and Rux already have the lane pressure, and they're going to maintain it.
And we did see an invade, the red buff and the chicken camp stolen away by Maxi. Nolty didn't go for an invade in response here, so Fnatic, I mean, look, yeah, like you said, they can't because mid and bot.
Look at that. I mean, Fnatic are making sure that no one's been going for any of these plays. Mid lane has priority range in the melee, understandable. Bot lane find priority in the 2v2, and they secure a triple buff for their junglers. So nice moves coming out, not just from obviously Maxi with the invade, but with the whole team ensuring that it went smoothly and couldn't be answered back.
Fury having a pretty rough start here, but you do expect that on the Akali. Is running that fleet footwork for the sustain in lane and got the Doran's shield. But I mean, that's only going to do so much. Febiven is really bullying right now.
The thing is, Febiven's running low on mana. So, you know, you have Revitalize, you have Doran's shield, you have fleet footwork. Fury can take a beating and he's going to be okay with it. Obviously, if you get close to dying, you'll be in a rough spot. But as long as you don't go down, you should be able to sustain marginally longer than Febiven's mana. I think at this point, he's just going to TP back in, and Febiven will likely do the same with the full mana pool.
Right, Nolty has been found out, actually, by Pride in the top side. Crab is secured, but Pride means that Nolty can't invade, and this is Maxi stealing away some camps in the bottom side. Maxi is just completely outpacing Nolty right now as far as the jungle farm goes. He's cleared out the bottom side jungle entirely. I think Nolty took some of those camps, but now he has an entire blue side jungle to clear for himself. These are level 1 camps, so he does need to get them killed so they can respawn at a higher level as soon as possible, but he has so much farming he can still pick up on this Graves.
And I mean, this is the power of the Graves. The Graves can do this. Good at clearing the jungle, relatively safe as he has a dash. And the thing is, Nolty can't really counter invade because he has no flash, doesn't have the ultimate obviously this early in the game, and so it's extremely risky. And if he does die, it's just going to get worse. So fair play to Nolty, he played this respectfully, but Fnatic clearly had a plan to shut him down, and so far it's working.
Yeah, playing it really well. Also, incredibly oppressive bot lane. Still, the CS isn't too bad. Bot side, Singularity still pretty okay with that. As Bean does need to be a little careful. Prosper getting jumped onto by Rux and gonna get chunked out. Shattering Strike on the tail end there to send him packing.
I mean, the thing with Rel as well, just does like no damage.
Yeah.
A lot of like you think about supports not doing damage, but in the early game, honestly, a lot of them do a ton of damage. Alistair's combo does a ton, especially when he gets his auto off. Leona, her passive just makes you do insane amounts. Even Thresh does a large amount of damage, and it kind of solidifies a 2v2 in that way. Rel's problem is she doesn't. She has a lot of CC. She can remove resistances, but in terms of her own damage, she's kind of lacking. So it can be difficult in those 2v2s to find like a full all-in 2v2. And actually, we see a W come out from Bean. Just gonna find the Grump, and I'm not sure exactly where it connected. It would have definitely told them some information, as in, you know, the Grump is there, but I'm not sure whether they knew it was pulled out.
Well, it hit him with health, so do you not get vision? I can't remember.
It's been so long. Yeah, you do.
Yes, you
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you. I thought you did, but I didn't want to say
yeah.
it and be wrong on that one.
long.
Yeah, so you did get the vision, so they were able to spot where Nolty was on the map.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's still these Krog spot side to pick up here for Max if he wants to. Febby actually looking to spot out Nolty. Got a 2-level lead on him. He's going to get chumped back here. Fury ultimate available, but Max is making his way over, and Nolty having to ghost.
Yeah, I mean,
run away.
It was at the point where you're kind of expecting the shockwave to come in, and you know if it connects, there's no way you're going to dodge it. So kind of holding the nerve there. Febiven's happy just to take the ghost away. You can see Nolty try to put some threat onto him, but Febiven wasn't scared. Knew his jungler was there to back him up.
Oh, Nolty. Just as the camp spawns, Max is
I actually didn't think it defended.
Well, look for him here. Able to dodge away with the dash to safety. Pride making his way over, and Nolty actually loses that camp as Maxi flashes forward, almost gets him. There's a cast, sends him packing. Now Pride locks down Wazor. Maxi pretty low on health for the moment, and Wazor is going to be able to get away to safety, but Fnatic are just bullying Nolty. Goldborg sang his praises in the pregame about how effective and how impactful he's been for Singularity. He just isn't getting to play right now. Meanwhile, Rox actually jumps onto Dragdar, gets a stun off onto Prosper, and being actually caught out by the Blade Cooler from Dragdar. Will chunk him pretty significantly there.
Finally seeing some return pressure from Singularity. You can see overall, they've been playing a very restrained 2v2. I think Prosper knows if he goes in, he's in a vulnerable spot, but he's kind of just been playing the peel game, and it allows Dragdar to set up these feathers. And now, after some rough trades, Singularity actually up in pressure. But I don't think they want to push it too far. I'll say, all things considered, if you think about what Maxi's done to Nolty, all the invades, all the pressure, and all that, Nolty's doing fine. You know, he's even in levels, probably down in XP, but he's even in CS. This could be drastically worse. I've seen scenarios like this where you've had 2 or 3 level leads between junglers. All things considered, Nolty's weathering the storm. And all these resources being invested hasn't... I mean, you look at the goal difference, look at the CS difference. If you think back to the context of how they started, the invade, the denial on the bot side, this is fine.
Yeah, genuinely. Big base coming in for Bean. Got himself the Noonquiver and double daggers on that base. Dragdar got Noonquiver and a pickaxe. Spaxy. See if he wants to go for this Rift Herald nice and early. Clouddrake on the map, and neither team really prioritizing that at the moment. I think bot has been a bit of a back and forth so far, so no team's had enough like consistent priority to be able to take that objective. Rux has made his way to the mid lane to help Febby shove out this lane and just deny Fury underneath his tower. And actually, it's a fairly large wave stacking here, so they might just set up to get the Rift Herald charge down. Maxi will take this in a couple more autos, and as the wave crashes, Rift Herald was secured. We'll see whether or not they decide to contest any more here. They will at least get a plate in the mid side. But it looks like with the wave being thinned out by Fury, they are going to step away.
Ooh, Fury missed the cannon. Went for the trade, missed the cannon. Bit unlucky, but ultimately Fnatic using that pressure well. As I said, weren't really able to put Nolty down too much, but getting the Herald is a big reward in and of itself. Could throw down mid, but for now, looking to hold on to it. I think Singularity looking to go for this dragon. Knowing that the reset came in from that Graves after doing the Herald.
Fnatic know what's going on. The ward is in the pit, but I don't think they are just going to give it up. It's only at first Drake, and I think Fnatic okay trading Cloud Drake for a Rift Herald. Still got just over, 4 minutes until those plates fall off as well. So see where they decide to use that.
I think you have options. I think mid is the closest, having already lost 1 plate. And just the amount of pressure that Featherman's been putting on Fury, I think potential avenue, especially if Fury goes aggressive and misplays here, they could end up killing him. So,
oh, gets shotwave.
Looking for it.
Gets end of the line and has to fling back with the Shuriken flip. Probably not going to take that into Maxi, as
there's no good wave clear though to try and deal with this wave. But with the bot lane roaming up, oh, engage coming in.
Here comes the charge. Actually, a great jump back with Bean to make sure he doesn't get isolated. Meanwhile, Prospect jumps in with a Magnet Storm, looking to lock everybody down. Fury slides in, slides back out, and gets himself a kill. It's a 2 for none in favor of Singularity. They lose a couple of plates, but they are so happy with that play.
What an engage coming in from Prospect there, showing the power of the Rel with that flip into the Magnet Storm, just completely locking down Maxi. We're going to see a replay of that. So, you know, the initial engage comes out, Nulty making a decision to back away, knows he's not getting the knockback fair enough, and then Prospect sees this window, flash, stun, ult, knock up, so much lockdown. Rux and Maxi just destroyed instantly, and you see Bean and Febiven just have to make their way out. Yes, they lose the plates, yes, the golds are leaving, but Singularity showing why they put priority on this route.
Really are now. 7 minutes on the clock. Fnatic looking just to get some farm back in their belt after a pretty devastating loss there. Bean not got the Q upgraded quite yet. Doesn't have that pickaxe finished. Is now down in CS to Dragdar as well, as Dragdar got a kill and assist, so gold lead will be in Dragdar's favor as he's finished up the Gale Force entirely now.
You know, I remember when the items first got released, like the on the preseason, and I remember thinking, because Gale Force 7 was like terrible, but I remember thinking like Xayah with Gale Force, being able to reposition you for your feathers would be such a cool combination.
Yeah.
And obviously Gale Force really strong now. Ivy carries building it, but I think Xayah is one of the champions as a powerful interaction, because if you throw down those feathers, we often see Xayah E flash to reposition. Same is going to be in theory possible with the Gale Force. I don't think you can E Gale Force, but you can definitely Gale Force to try and find a better angle for those feathers. And they do a ton of damage. I think the problem at the moment
is you don't use the Gale Force to reposition. You just Gale Force forwards and then kill someone.
Well, I mean, you can do that, but you have a lot of options. Do you see Fibber moving down, but a ward will spot him out. They'll see the ball, so they'll know he moved. And Dragdown Prospect already backing away now. Potentially toying for an engage around mid. They do see Maxi.
Yeah, Maxi in a bit of trouble here. Is able to put the ward down to make sure that he's not caught out. Rux's sweeper actually timed out before he got to that ward in the red side jungle, and all this vision that has been placed there by Singularity means that they can continue to play aggressive bot side. Nulty has the charge available, as he has Prosper waiting in the wings as well.
That was do you hear that alarm, by the way? That was the wave priority alarm. It was warning Singularity that Fnatic had wave priority and they need to back away. Was that coming from you, by the way?
Yeah, I had to mute.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think my family are setting the house on fire downstairs.
Well, casting comes first, so focus up, Jake. House is burning down. Just keep casting.
Got to keep the fire going. Right, Bean looking for Dragdar. Ooh. Speaking of fire, Dragdar feeling the heat there.
Yeah, just have to burn the cleanse. Ultimately fine in that situation. Cleanse Gale Force. Relatively short cooldowns, not the longest, but won't have those available for the next dragon fight. Actually, Gale Force should be up in time, but will be cleanseless. Now they are looking for an engage here.
Yeah, Hex Flash coming out. There's Prosper jumping for the slam and doesn't quite get it. And now he's getting turned on to. Pulled in by the Solar Flare. Nulty looking for the charge back. Will pull Rux as the Blade Caller comes in. Pride slides in forwards and Prosper loses his life like it's nothing. Shockwave will secure the life of their support while getting a kill in return. As Wazor now getting chased onto by Fnatic. They won't find the kill onto Wazor, but a 2 for none. Very happy with that one for Fnatic.
This is the difference between Prosper having his flash and not. Without his flash there, wasn't able to get the instant CC lockdown. You'll see, goes for the Hex Flash, tries to find the combo, isn't able to, and Fnatic are ready to turn. Full CC combo comes, all the TPs flying in, and you see Dragdar unable to kill off Rux to get the root. Pride flies in the backline, devastates it, and Nulty goes for a... I mean, it was the right play. You're going to die anyway. Might as well try and trade kills, but in the end, isn't able to even get Rux, and Fnatic answer back for that earlier play. 2 for 2 now. Got a gold lead. and in position for this next dragon, but Singularity has respawned.
Fnatic are first in the area though. They've got the vision control, and as you can see with the toggle, not much vision coming in from Singularity. So Fnatic should just be able to pick up this Ocean Drake and equalize out on the dragon score for themselves. We'll see what kind of soul we're looking at. It is going to be an Infernal Soul.
Definitely a high priority one, but ultimately, dragon for dragon, it's not a big deal losing that one. But it has put Fnatic ahead in gold. Obviously picked up a lot of plates earlier, and there was only those 2 kills for Singularity that kind of keeping things even. You can see now, Fnatic moves their bot lane up to the top side of the map to prioritize this Herald, being going to be picking up a pretty big wave here.
Yeah, he's pretty happy with that one. Also, Pride catching the wave as it crashes in the bottom side, so no farm loss for the Renekton either. He's up 30 CS over Wazor right now.
Pretty substantial
with that kill
lead.
as well. The gold is pretty weighted towards Fnatic, at least with Pride's favor there, but 2k gold lead overall.
And obviously, this is the difference between having Pride back on the roster compared to Lingard. Lingard, great job on the Ornn, but kind of limited in terms of what he can play, whereas here they have this threat in the top lane. Renekton able to TP in and dive into the back line and just devastate them in that last fight. But now going to pick up that Rift Herald pretty much uncontested, and realistically, they have options where to place it. I don't think he'll be mid, because I don't think that mid tower really needs a Herald.
No, it is slowly melting, little by little, to Febby. It looks like Maxi and Rux are just going to try and make a play in the top side. They peel away and decide to go back towards mid. We'll see where this Herald goes down. Like you said, though, don't really expect to see it get used in the mid lane. It feels like a bit of a waste, really. But they made up for a quick ambush onto some of the Singularity members. Not going to find it as Febiven secures first turret for Fnatic. Pride and Wazor just going for a light skirmish with the Gold Drinker finished up onto Pride. He's pretty comfortable with the amount of sustain he's got. He's got a 2-level lead over Wazor as well. And B just been quietly farming alone here for this whole time. So got a level lead over his counterpart as his support has been roaming around. And honestly, just really stellar stuff from Fnatic, considering there was that play in the mid lane, but was looking a little hairy.
Yeah, but ultimately the pressure from their lanes really amounted to giving them a lead, and it was only the play from Singularity that kind of kept Singularity even. So now the Fnatic answered. They're pulling ahead, 2,000 gold up. It's been a relatively slow game, I think, compared to especially the game before. There's a lot of action. Both teams feeling a bit more calculated with their plays, and there have been missed executions, there have been misplays, but overall it's been fairly slow paced and still really is anyone's game at this point. Look to see how much priority they put on this next dragon in 2 minutes. I've got mythics coming in for pretty much everyone across the board, bar the support and Wazor. Have you seen the Kraken Slayer from the Kai'Sa this game?
Oh, okay. So this is the damage build over the survivability build.
Yes, survivability. That's what Kai'Sa's used the item for.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with the item. But what it should be is it should give you a safety net.
They should just ban it. If you already have a dash, you're not allowed to buy it.
I mean, I still disagree on that. Jhin having a dash is not nice.
True. Remove that item, honestly.
I think with the fact they got an Orianna and the shields coming in from that, especially with the amount of CC in front line Fnatic have, I think Bean feels pretty comfortable optimizing into damage over.
I think as well, like you gotta look at who's.
Safety.
You gotta look at like he's not really going to be diving in too heavily on Singularity. They're going to be diving on him, and he needs to cut through this front line.
Oh, Fury.
Great
He's just
combo.
going to die here. Uses the stopwatch, but underneath the tower, able to jump away with the Ignite ticks and Bean slides for one last auto attack. Securing that kill. And this might just be another tower getting picked up. The rail's coming over, but Prospere not really got too much to work with, as that would be the end of that tower. 2 turrets for 1 is the trade at the moment, as bot lane turret tier 2 not got a full yet, so
it's close though.
Hold on to that one.
And I feel like Fnatic have just kind of unleashed their pressure here. Love the coordination here. Febiven goes for the shockwave, instant ult to lock him down. Fury gets a stopwatch off, but realistically, there's not really much you can do in this situation. As soon as that shockwave connects, he is kind of just doomed. But Fnatic really putting the pressure on here, wanting to make up for their underwhelming week 1 performance.
Yeah. A loss to Barrage in the first day was not what they wanted. Wanted a undefeated streak, and beating out the undefeated team in this group really settles everything for themselves here. Puts them in a much more comfortable position and kind of says, look, that Barrage game was a blip on the radar. Although I think Barrage played it really well. Rux does find Prosper though. The Attract and Repel is currently on Dragda.
Oh.
Just checking the bush. Pride actually finding Nulty, and Maxi's able to smite away the blue buff. Does have his smite coming back off cooldown anyway, so it wasn't a wasted smite, just a denial.
Fnatic just been so aggressive here.
Yeah, they are looking for it. Going to clear out this vision. Trying to deny as much openings to Singularity as possible. Crossfair will try and clear out this ward. And Pride looking for Wazor. Dragon's going to get started, and they still have tools to work with. You got the cast, but Wazor, he might just lose his life here. Is able to flash away as the collateral damage doing a fair amount of damage, but Bean getting slowed down by the cast, and Pride actually can't enter in. Does go 1 versus 4. Got that Gore Drinker for the healing to keep himself alive, and Wazor actually survived the Fnatic all in there. Just
doesn't matter though.
Dragon though.
Pride just able to do so much damage there in that instant moment, and it's enough just to automatically win the team fight. That's all you needed. You don't even need the kill. You chunk out Wazor, and the rest of the team chunk out. I mean, Pride chunks out the rest of the team, and suddenly it's you get the dragon, and you're able to translate that quite easily into not just the dragon, but you can see the pings coming out. They're moving over that red side jungle. They want to pretend they're going for Baron and pressure Singularity to face check them. I think Fnatic, you can see it's a very tempered game, very slow paced, but there's these little moments where Fnatic are just finding the advantage. It's really worked for them so far.
Really, like I think unleashing the control was actually the best way you could have described it earlier, where it's they had everything in their hand and it was just like ready to blow, and they finally pulled that trigger, and it's now starting to punish Singularity, and the goal lead is now growing. I feel like the pace is going to start to pick up if Fnatic keep it going this way. If they start to fall back and farm up, then it obviously will slow the game down, because it feels like Fnatic are the team who control the tempo right now on the map. And personally, I'd like to see them keep that tempo high while they have the advantages. Now, they haven't actually been back to base after cashing in on some of this fighting, but again, there hasn't really been that many kills, so the gold
there
probably not
kill
that
there,
massively in the pocket of Fnatic right now anyway.
Yeah, I think they want to make, because they have pressure already in the enemy red side jungle near Baron. They want to snowball this pressure because they know Singularity just went back to base. They know what direction they're coming from. There is a ward in mid lane that might spot some of the movements. But I think the plan is basically to move over, steal some jungle camps, and maybe have someone face check from Singularity. And on the back of that, they can potentially get more gold, maybe leading to a Baron. Just sort of depends. You'll see there's that ward in the mid lane that potentially could have spotted them. There were pings coming out for them to move up into this red side jungle, but it seems like Fnatic kind of just opted away. They'll take the red buff and be happy with that.
Been looking to pick up the crab as well. Should be able to do that with pretty much ease there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really at risk of Singularity rushing the Baron. But you can see Singularity, the whole team heading straight over, knowing that it was unlikely, but they had to respect the potential threat of a Baron being started. Right now, we have a 3,000 gold lead for Fnatic and a dragon up.
Bean's just been back to base and picked up the collector as well, so got the items combined.
It's tricky from this point, honestly, because this Orianna is mega fed, and Singularity is struggling to find their way in on these team fights.
Did they leave that ward alive so Bean could get it? Are they actually trying to funnel Bean that much gold?
I mean, why not? You give him scaff, why not give him the ward gold as well? You'll see though, on the other side, Dragdar's been farming up a storm pretty heavily, so he's still pretty comfortable as a carry, but it's Febiven who's just so strong right now. Past the 10 CS per minute mark, and they are still trying to sweep out the vision around this Baron area. See, Singularity are waiting. Stuff to the side, but this top tower is just gone. No way they can really defend it, and you can feel the pressure building up from Fnatic so far. You can feel that Singularity are kind of trying to find a window, but they need a mistake realistically. They need Fnatic to mess up for them to find a way in, and Fnatic just aren't really messing up right now.
Well, Weasel is going to take a turret in the bot side here. So that will be the second for Singularity, but there's so much locked gold on the map for Fnatic. Once they start to crack open a couple more of these last... I mean, there's not many turrets left outside the base, to be fair. There's only 2. So may just see them calm down a little bit and wait until this dragon comes up. Would put them on soul point. Or Fnatic may just want to look to go for it. Like you said, Featherman is massive on the Orianna right now. Got the Archangels, got the Leandries.
Tough spot to be in. Do you see the second item come out for Dragdor with that Essence Reaver? I think realistically, Singularity need to find Forbidden. They need Forbidden to die quickly in the opener. Otherwise, I'm struggling to see how it goes well. I mean, the alternative is they can kite back and get like a massive amount of feathers from Dragdor, but I just don't see Fnatic as chasing them. I think Fnatic have played relatively restrained. They're not going to dive too deep onto the Xayah, so I don't think you can guarantee that as a play. I think ultimately we'll likely see, if Singularity are going to win, we'll likely see Fnatic overstep and then a great engage in a Featherman, because I think that right now that's what we kind of need to happen.
Yeah. Always on Pride, just going for a light trade, but Pride, Gore Drink Hysterics, not really under any threat, and Weasel pretty tanky as well, so...
Yeah, I think as well, with enough CDR, it gets to the point where Gragas can kind of just spam his body slam, and it's really frustrating if you're a melee champion just to get like, because every time you hit something with your body slam, it reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds, so you can just kind of not completely chain it, obviously, but it really becomes frustrating to try and get on top of Gragas.
And Pride is actually doing some pretty significant work there. You always kind of forget how far you get bot back by the Gragas, but Shockwave into Solar Flare combo once again, and Febby finds himself his second kill. This will be the 5th turret falling down for Fnatic as well. Sending that gold lead, and Fury's in the top side. They can see him on the wards, on the minions, so they know where he is. 30 seconds until this Infernal Drake's up, and it looks like Fnatic not really risking overstaying anymore. They want to just clear out some of these jungle camps and then head towards that dragon.
Struggle to see what Singularity can do to contest. They do have a teleport, but no great wards to flank. There's one near the blue buff. It's not... sorry, that's a blue... Yeah, that's the blue trinket ward. Never mind. Nothing. They got nothing for ways of the TP to that's going to be aggressive. I don't know if you can contest this dragon. I feel like if you don't, you might be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Wingsel's just going to teleport to the wave, but Prospect jumps in with the Magnet Storm on the Bean. Bean flashes away to safety as Rux gets pulled back. Looking for that Zenith, going to connect it. Look at Pride on the flank, though. Fnatic looking for the fight. A lot getting used already. If the Blade Cooler locks down 2, health bars go low, and Pride connects on for a second for a kill. Singularity slowed, stunned, and just crushed as Fnatic walk through them in the fight. This will be their 3rd dragon to boot. 1 off Soul. The pings could go down at Baron. It looks like Fnatic just going to reset after spending some of that gold from the fight. But Fnatic, the rest of the team, will push towards the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, Pride has TP. Easy to set this one up. He's just going to come in. They know there's no jungler, no threat of a steal. And the team fighting of Singularity significantly hampered. Fnatic just look too strong. Febiven, monstrous on this Orianna. Pride on this Renekton. They just don't have an answer, and they're going to secure the Baron. 7,000 gold lead, 3 dragons in favor. Fnatic looking in firm control this game, and it's been very slow, very calculated, very measured. And in case Singularity kind of got desperate with that last play. This is the Fnatic we expected.
Yes, really is. BF Sword and a stopwatch on to Bean off the base of that. Banshee's just finished up on Febby. So some defensive items coming in. Yeah,
if it's not clear that they expect this to be the final push, both carries on the side of, well, Fnatic, well, Fev and Bean both buying stopwatches. Definitely an indicator that they expect some essence of finality, and this makes it almost impossible because Bean doesn't have his flash anymore, but still has Zolt now as a stopwatch. Febiven has Banshees on stopwatch. That engage that went wrong before, it's going to be just as hard now, if not harder, because of the goal difference.
Bean getting chunked out. Here comes Prosper on the flank. Actually looks for the turnaround, but Bean, massive shockwave comes in from Febby. Nulti charges over the wall, and Pride is just sliding in. Rux is on the back line as Fury is looking to run interruption, but stopwatch has been used by Bean. Fury looks for a perfect execution, but he won't be able to find his opportunity. Fnatic just take the fight and absolutely destroy Singularity again. 3 members standing, but they can't do anything as Fnatic will just look to take the last turret outside of the base.
You could see that Singularity were trying to go for the play. The idea was there. But again, stopwatch on Bean means he wasn't a good target. They weren't able to find the engage. Fnatic were there to answer and easily shut down that attempt and now look to push into the base. Respawns are starting to come in from Singularity though, but the Baron just going to guide their way to the inhibitor for Fnatic Rising. Singularity really in a rough spot.
Yeah, and here will fall mid lane. Everybody is rotating over towards this top side now. As Febby crashes the wave, perfectly synced up, and Tower already getting chunked out pretty heavily there. They are looking for the shockwave onto that backline. Will clap onto one as Prospect gets the stun with the attract and repel, but Febby secures himself a killing spree, and Singularity lose another fight, another attempt to save the day. Second inhib will go down as the wave crashes in mid-side. Fnatic probably waiting for these supers. Are just going to back off and spend the gold from the back of all of these players. A lot injected into them, and the gold just rocketing to 9,000 in charge for Fnatic. With 2 inhibitors down, I expect this to be the final base.
Yeah, I mean, you saw GA coming out for Bean as well, as if it couldn't get bad enough. Those carries just aren't options, and you know what the game plan is for Singularity. Kill the carries, and once they're down, they have a chance. But Shieldbow on the Graves, GA on the Renekton when he was already unkillable, stopwatch Banshees on Febiven, and the GA on Bean there's no easy option. These Fed carries are incredibly protected, and those, I'll say luxury items, those luxury defensives are like the gold lead. That's how far ahead they are. They can afford those items and still be equal in terms of like raw damage output. So Fnatic just miles ahead right now. And this game is looking scary.
Ahead. Speaking of miles ahead, Maxi 3 levels over Nulti. 0-4-0 Nulti is right now. Look at the spam between Maxi and Nulti. It's so massive.
And the thing is, that early pressure didn't really do much for Maxi to get over Nulti. But since then, the pressure from the entire team has meant Nulti hasn't had a jungle to farm. It's the mid game from Fnatic that was scary. The early game wasn't really that big of a deal, but Fnatic have just had complete control of this game, and they've choked Singularity out.
Teleport by Fury onto that flank in the back. Maybe looking for someone here. Bean is isolated, does have himself a GA. Goes invisible and dodges out on the Shuriken flip as Nulti gets caught out by a shockwave. Prospect jumps in, that's the charge. Singularity just pulling the trigger here, but Nulti already low. Bean slides in, gets 1, gets 2, like it's nothing. And Drag Dart just being run down. The rest of the team getting jumped onto Fury, but Wazor loses his life. And it is just a fight on all fronts. Fury, the only one standing. Fnatic, they're not messing about. They're going to teleport and try and find a kill onto Fury, but Pride and Bean are looking to close this game out as Febby delivers Fury into the waiting arms of Maxi. And the tower will go down. 15 kills on the board for Fnatic. They just unleashed hell into Singularity and wouldn't give them an opportunity to breathe.
Absolutely annihilated them. No other way to phrase it. You can see that final play, Singularity, they wanted to punish Febiven. They knew what their plan was. They wanted to dive onto the Orianna, but the stopwatch completely stopped them in their tracks. Just a really... I don't think we've seen a game that has just looked so controlled and one-sided. It was kind of brutal, and honestly, it kind of really put, for me, Fnatic as the front runners. If they start playing like that in every game, this is what they are with Pride back on the roster, then I think they are absolutely the team to beat.
Fnatic have been reborn coming into week 2 of the NLC. Fantastic stuff from them. Now we're going to throw to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll have an interview, and one of our analysts is going to get all creative and start drawing shapes on your screens. See you in a second.
but that's where I wanna be. And I feel free for the first time. And I feel free for the first time. For the first time. For the first time. For the first time. And I feel free for the first time. And I feel free for the first time.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NLC. And with that game, it felt like Fnatic have returned to their previous form, back on top. And I think if they can keep up that kind of performance, I'm expecting Fnatic to be in the same position that they've always have been in. You might be muted, Trouble. You might be muted because I can't hear you.
So wait a minute. What was the goal book said at the start? He wanted clean, calm, collected, dominant. I think Fnatic just gave him all four. I will resort back to saying that it feels like with Pride in the composition, they seem like such a well-rounded team. It was so textbook. There were almost no mistakes. It was very, very minor ones, but they were like almost instantly pulling them back. It was so beautifully done. The early game, giving nothing away, always finding the opponent jungler, Maxi completely being ahead the entire time, Pride on point, their bot lane, not a single mistake. It just looked so clean, and Feb even there to facilitate for every single one of them. It was so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, they had this small error in the early game with the rel engage, but apart from that, they took no chances following. We are going to go to Professor Gulborg, I believe, for a little breakdown of that game. So, Professor Gulborg, please take it away.
Yeah, I will. And what we're going back into here is we're going to be talking about pressure, vision, objective. This is the core values of what you need when going into this. So we're going to keep them on screen while we play this objective out here. So what you can see from Fnatic right now, if you take a look at the minimap, thankfully the observer is already here, is that as we highlighted here, you can see that they have dominated the entire vision quadrant of the enemy jungle here. They are so pressured on the side of Singularity that they just need to push up. They can't go in and get the mission immediately. They're just looking for a fight. And on the side of Fnatic, you can take this calm. You can wait to play off the pressure that you got from Pride. And that's what we're going to be seeing here. They are going to be engaging onto a fight. And meanwhile, on the minimap, the rest of Fnatic are coming in for this. It doesn't matter that they're fighting here. It's not really anything important. It's just that they have the pressure for Pride to move first. And he's been a great addition coming back to the roster. You can finally feel that there's someone on the side lane. And then going into this, it's just going to be a cleanup. They have no control on the side of Singularity. And that's because, yes, they're behind, but Fnatic has all the pressure, vision, and now they have the objective. So that's what you got out from this.
And for only $3.99, you can purchase Professor Gulborg's PVO, Pressure Vision Objectives, and it will guarantee to hit you diamond in 30 days. Make sure you buy now, stocks will last. And his follow-up book, yes, you're right, you can go to Orcs' Twitter, you can see his follow-up book on the banner, Win Lane, Win Game.
That is actually going to be the title of the ebook.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was good. It was great. I love the pressure vision objectives thing going on. Look, I believe we are almost ready to chat to. I'm not actually chatting to Forbiven. I was told I was potentially chatting to Forbiven, but I believe I have D-Lord, the coach. So I'm going to jump over and chat to D-Lord, I believe, who is standing by for an interview. Cool. Yes, it is D-Lord, not Forbiven. There we go. He's a little bit confused. I think he's on Forbidden's computer. D-Lord, it's nice to see Fnatic and the roster back to full strength. It felt like that was a very clean game, kind of what we expect from the Fnatic Rising roster. What is it that you focused on from last week coming into this week? Obviously, Pride being in the roster is a massive bonus, right? But what was kind of the focus points for you coming into this week?
So hello, thank you for having me. So basically, we are not even in, I would say 60% of our strength because we have a lot of problems in game actually. Outside of the game, we are friends. Like I can already say that everyone likes each other. Being past my
looking around to check.
He's laughing, but it's true. Eventually, we will make sure that those basics of the game are gonna be there and they're gonna be waiting for our enemies and gonna be perfect. And then probably I will be more happy. But I'm super happy that my boys won today, and I'm super happy because we were actually able to show some stuff that we were working on. So I'm super happy. Of course, but not. Of course, it's not over yet.
Of course, no, you've got plenty of games left. But as we said, the way you played today was much more reminiscent of what we expect from the roster. So you've obviously managed to get the guys on the path to where they need to be. What were the main things that you needed to work on? What were the main things that you think that the team needed to work on coming into this week?
I mean, everything, vision, communication, like the skill shots, hitting skill shots, like everything. But like being more serious, of course, like players are coming from different backgrounds, right? Those players are not like, let's say, rookies. So every one of them were doing something different in other teams, right? I don't know, Beam was playing with a jungler who was doing completely some different things that Maxi is doing, right? For now, it's like we have to build our own house, with the structure and like our own hands. We have to for sure make things work by just, I don't know, like assigning tasks to manage in the game, let's say, or like just making sure that everybody knows what they should do at some points of the game. And I think it's just like building the structure from the scratch, right? And I think like everything we have to work on because it's hard to move without like really good basics of the game. And once the basics are strong, then once the root is strong, then we can gather more fruit, So I guess that's it.
I like the analogy there. I like the analogy. And actually, I'm going to ask you this straight up. Do you think that this roster is European Masters winning? Do you think that if you get to 100%, this roster wins European Masters?
I mean, I mean, maybe we will be in new Masters, but I don't want to go far away. We have to focus on the process when we're gonna make sure that our staff like is working with everyone and everybody is gonna be ready for the new tasks and stuff like this, and we're gonna like for sure make sure that everything works in our team. Then probably it's gonna be way easier. But for now, we focus on the process, and I'm not really thinking about new Masters. I was there already. There's nothing new. There's nothing nice in new Masters. Like you're playing the games. Who cares, right? I mean, the basics are important, and we're gonna make sure that it's gonna be there, and EU Masters will come eventually. So,
of course, step by step, mate. Step by step, of course.
Yeah.
D-Lord, this has been wonderful. You're a really funny guy. Actually, love chatting to you. So I hope we get to chat to you again.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. It's just thank you, D-Lord, for chatting to us. That was he was very smiley, very wholesome. Definitely looking around at his team, thinking, look at these guys. Got to carry them through my coaching. But alas, we haven't got much time. I'm afraid we are going to be going to our final game of the night, which again, as Boomerang Scoundrel's memory is absolutely terrible, he's just going to double check. It's Granite versus Dusty. So Granite versus Dusty will be our final game of the night. The ever disappointing Dusty.
Oh my God!
No,
Great intro.
I'm so harsh. No, Dusty have a chance to bounce back here. Dusty have a chance to bounce back, and Granite, they've definitely come out swinging, surprising and surpassing expectations. So I'm very excited to see how these guys play out against each other. We're going to go to a short break. When we are back, we will be diving into that final game of the night.